Recently, I've been emailed through some income reports from a couple of groups that are on Skool. Now, it is fascinating to know what the monthly recurring revenue is for these Skool platforms. So in this video, I'm going to dissect Skool a little bit. I'm going to talk you through my experience on Skool, what are the positives that you need to look out for, but also some of the things that you also need to consider if you're looking at creating your own Skool community. Hello and welcome, my name is Romney and thank you very much for joining my YouTube channel. Now there's been a lot of hype around Skool. If you haven't been to Skool before, spelled skool.com, it's a learning platform where people can come together like a Facebook group, I guess, where you can actually host your courses, you can put resources on there, you can have scheduled meetings or Zoom calls. It really is a one-stop shop for a lot of different people or content creators or teachers or educators that can teach people about a certain topic or share knowledge and experiences, or even come together as a collective to be a community. And that's why in a lot of situations it actually favors those people that want a platform that has everything wrapped around in a wraparound service. So let's identify exactly what Skool is and go into a little bit more detail. But what I'm also going to do is to share some amazing revenue reports from a couple of groups that are on Skool to show you what is actually possible. But I'm also going to share with you some of the experiences that I've had. Let's get into that right now. So at the very start, let's have a look at the definition of what Skool is. So it's an online platform that combines courses, community, events and memberships in one place, helping creators build and manage engaged learning communities around a shared interest or goal. So that's sort of the essence of what Skool is. So when hosting a Skool community, you can either make it free or paid, but throughout this video we'll be referring to the paid membership, which creates that monthly recurring revenue, or abbreviated to MRR. Now you can have that monthly recurring revenue coming through, and what I want to do is actually share with you some of the huge monthly recurring revenues that I've seen come through. So this is Club Raw. So at the time I was sent this through, they had 729 members. It was a $39 per month community, generating $19,220 monthly reoccurring per month, which is huge. Then if we look at another one, Matt Ryder, this one is $69 per month, 953 members, generating over $82,000 monthly recurring revenue. But on the dashboard, you can see down the right-hand side here that the new monthly revenue has been over $30,000. So these people are doing something extremely right. And let's now look at one other one. So Photography Academy Prime. This one is, it's got 915 members, $47 per month for people to join up, generating $43,000 monthly revenue. So before I showed you the dashboard of some of these communities, so this was Club Raw, you can see how on the community page they've added different videos.
Welcome to Club Raw, the most awesome health community on the internet, where we truly help you live your...
Where they actually go through what the community is about. You've got different test results, people talking through their own experiences. Then it's got some information about the community, and then you can join. So join $39, currently at 700 members is Club Raw. We look at Matt Ryder, this one's at 942 members, $69 as I pointed out. Again, lots of different information here, provides a video talking through the community. And the last one we looked at was Photography Academy Prime. So again, goes through a video talking about the membership, different reviews, people what they're saying about it. So you've got a lot of different things there. If you want to discover Skool communities, you can just go to skool.com, discover communities, and you can write anything here. So if it was self-publishing, you click there and then it takes you to the different communities. You can scroll through, you can see some are free, some are paid. So it's up to you. I tend to want to go to maybe a paid community, I feel the value will be greater than maybe a free community. Not suggesting that all free communities don't have value. There are some with this exceptional value, but the way that we can generate a monthly recurring revenue is through the paid subscriptions or paid plans. So you can discover your own communities if you want to. I had my community here. You can see all information that I was publishing, lots of different things. If you go to my classroom, I had the different courses that I had as well up there. I had the calendar events, leaderboards. I had the about publishing, but I decided at a point in time to close this down, and that's what we're going to move on to next. Things you need to consider, why it would work for you, a Skool community, and maybe what the considerations are about what the challenges could be in having a Skool community. So let's have a look at why Skool can work. Well, how could it work for you if you created your own Skool community? Well, the right topic can draw significant interest. As you've seen with a few of those different Skool communities, whether it be photography, diet, whether it be business, the right topic can actually generate some amazing revenue. Next one is people like being part of a collective community. So when you're looking at different community groups, if there's more people within the group, they're sharing ideas, people have different things that they want to run through, that can work really, really well. The hardest thing would be to actually start to get that momentum of community members. People don't want to join an empty community. So that's one of the initial challenges as well. It's a great place to host pretty much everything. It's a one-stop shop. You can put your content, your courses, your resources, all into that Skool community. If community members feel connected and they're finding value, then they generally stay. So that's where your monthly recurring revenue will grow over time. And then finally, the monthly hosting cost remains the same regardless of your community size. So there are two different options for that. So you've got the $9 hobby plan. So I would recommend starting with the hobby plan. You get all the features, unlimited members, unlimited courses, but there is a 10% transaction fee. But that's okay, because once you get momentum, you can change. The only thing is you don't get a custom URL. So when you've got the Pro one, you can choose your own URL, which helps with marketing. It doesn't look too spammy if you don't have your custom URL. So the $99 plan is everything that I mentioned with the hobby, but it's a 2.9% transaction cost. So you get more money, part of your monthly recurring revenue, custom URL. So you can see right down the bottom, Skool is the lowest transaction fees. So that's what I like about it. You can actually start with a $9 plan, build your community up. Yep, you get hit with a 10% transaction fee, but then you can switch and then you can go to the $99 plan. I'll include the link of my link in the description below. So let's look further at what Skool requires, the workload. Why was it that I decided to finish up my Skool community? Well, there is ongoing monitoring of your community, and that could be a daily thing. So it's reviewing questions, comments. There might be people that are making inappropriate comments in there that you have to then deal with. So you sort of feel that obligation because people are paying a monthly subscription that you've constantly got to be helping them and providing that value. And that's the next point. You need to continue to add value. Are you providing more content, fresh content, addressing questions, comments? Are you providing different Zoom calls, things like that? So again, move on to the next one. It usually requires you to do weekly, fortnightly, monthly, or a combination of all those things as part of a catch-up. So you can do live sessions. You might have a pre-recorded session that you put up, but that is probably one of the key things to generate connection. And then the last one is where I've sort of felt the pressure is when members join a community, you can't just decide to quit your community because you have an ongoing commitment. If someone signs up on the 1st of February for your community, then you've got to see that whole month through. They've paid for that month. They expect something. So you can't just have people sign up and go, oh, this is all too hard. And you've got 45 members in there who are all paid up and you just cancel the community. So to be fair to them, you need to provide value and continued value. So that's one of the key things I think you need to be very, very careful of. If you're looking at a school community, you've got, amazing things, positives, that if it's going to work for you, that's great. And if you're that minded, you like to make it into a full-time business, then that's wonderful. So they're things that you need to consider. I've been wrestling with the idea about whether I should go back and start a school community again. There's a part of me that knows the challenges that are involved with running a school community, but I think I would do it very, very differently than the first time that I started that school community. Whether I'd continue running it on self-publishing, which was the first community I created, or whether I'd do something maybe completely different. So I'm still wrestling with that at the moment. But when you look at that reoccurring revenue and what the possibilities are, it's very, very tempting. So if you do want to become one of those people that are starting the school community, you can do that 14-day free trial for $9, test it out, get some content together. That would be probably where I would start again. And then you can build it into that $99 plan, reduce the transaction costs, and then you get more of that monthly recurring revenue. But I hope you found this overall view of Skool helpful. I wanted to give you a balanced view of what has worked and what does work, what the possibilities are, but also some of the considerations that you need to think about if you are starting the school community. I don't want you going there blind thinking that you can just make all this monthly revenue, just sit back and let it happen. It is a hands-on community. It's not like a course where you create it, you put it up there, you might check questions once every week or once every 2 weeks and get back to people at that point in time. This really does require a ongoing commitment. So I wanted to make sure that you understood that before you actually started. So thank you so much for joining my video. Please make a comment. If you've liked this video, give me a thumbs up. I help with answering questions if you have any. So let me know if you've got anything that you need me to help you with. So until my next video, I'll see you then.